I might still be a monster, but I'm an evolving monster.
Hey guys, Desh here from Just Binge It, and today we're discussing the first episode of the Dexter reboot, New Blood. Warning, there are huge spoilers ahead, so if you haven't seen the episode yet, I highly recommend you pause this video now and watch it first. All right, you've been warned. You ready? Here we go. Episode 1 is called Cold Snap. It opens with Dexter running in the snow with a hunting rifle, chasing after a deer in the woods. Several scenes show him living that lumberjack life, chopping wood, attending to his farm. Clearly, we're not in Miami anymore. It's Christmas time in the city, and Dexter seems to have acclimated to his new town, his new routine, his new life as Jim Lindsay, working at the local ammunition shop. He's friends with practically everyone and is even dating a cop, Officer Angela Bishop. Way to cross your T's and dot your I's, Dex. In his cabin, Dexter has been marking days on a calendar. In this episode, Deb confirms it's been 10 years since his last kill, and she's proud of him for sticking to his new routine. Deb, of course, died in the finale of the previous season, but now appears in Dexter's subconscious, much like Harry did in the original series. I actually really like that Deb is now kind of taking Harry's place as Dexter's angel or devil on the shoulder, if you will. She seems to be doing her best at trying to keep Dexter on track with this new life, but of course, Dex being Dex and his dark passenger calling within him, well, you know how it plays out. Dexter works at Fred's Fish and Game, which also sells a crap load of ammunition and other tools. In walks Matt Caldwell, an actual tool, who wants to purchase a knife and a big axe gun. Dex runs a background check, and a 24-hour hold is placed on Matt while the FBI checks it out. Matt is less than pleased. I actually love this scene right here with Michael C. Hall and the guy that plays Matt, where he tries to convince Dexter to sell him the gun anyway. Dex obviously doesn't budge. And this stare down he gives him right here. Look how long this is. So much eye contact, and Dexter doesn't even blink. Matt grew up in town, and apparently everyone knows his dad, but it's obvious from the start this guy is clearly a shitbag. He's just a little too over the top in my opinion. I don't know if it was the director's choice or the actor's choice. I'm not hating on the actor at all. I just feel like he's one of those characters where it's so obvious that he's like the bad guy that I feel like I wish there was a little more substance to his character. I prefer the not so obvious villains like Rudy or Trinity. Characters with a little more of an arc, or at least the ones that aren't screaming, "Hey, I'm a scumbag," and practically taunting Dex into killing them. And this first kill felt pretty much exactly like that to me. But I'll dive more into this in a bit. A few hours later, Dexter's visiting his girlfriend at the police department, where he learns Matt was in a boating accident where 5 people were killed, but Matt wasn't driving. On his lunch break, Dex sees a crowd of protesters, including Angela's daughter, Audrey, holding signs outside the tavern where billionaire Edward Olson is holding his annual board meeting. It's not clear exactly yet how big of a character this guy's going to be, but we do get a little bit sleazy vibe from the guy. He seems like he's putting on this whole I'm a decent guy vibe. I mean, he's handing hot chocolate out and says thank you for waiting, yada yada. But I can't help but feel like this is all just an act and this guy's a little more scummy than he appears. And I have a feeling we haven't seen the last of him yet. Later, Dex and Angela go out for line dancing and oh look, it's Matt again, annoying as ever. And once again, pestering Dex and pushing for his big axe gun. Later in the scene, Angela mentions how the FBI gets backed up and people fall through the cracks all the time. And as you probably guessed, sure enough, Matt's FBI background check is cleared and Dex, of course, has to deliver it. Matt is busy living up his 40th at his dad's cabin, while his bitter friend Bill gets high in the bathroom, then conveniently spills all the details of what really happened in the boating accident that's been kept a secret for years, by the way, after knowing Dexter for all of 5 minutes. The writing here. And later, Dexter finds out the person following him is his now teenage son, Harrison. Deb tries to stop Dex from getting too close to him, reminding him that everyone who does dies, and that he's better off with Hannah, which immediately made me wonder, is Hannah gonna make an appearance in this reboot? Talk about throwing a complete wrench in Dexter's new life. Wouldn't it be such a cool scene, though, to have, say, Angela and Dexter come back to Dexter's place after a date night, only to walk in and find Hannah inside the cabin, looming in the shadows? Hello, Dexter. It's been some time. And that's where the episode ends. I mean, talk about a cliffhanger. I'm just saying. That's something I'd want to see. Overall, I'm excited for New Blood. I was a big fan of the original show, and so pretty much anything in the Dexter universe has me super hyped. I am a little bummed that the trailer basically ruined all the reveals in this first episode. Deb, Harrison, the fact that Dex is dating a cop. I guess that's unavoidable since clearly they wanted to hype up the show and they had to give some things away in the trailer. But I'm hoping that just means there is even more twists and turns later in this season, maybe even bigger reveals that we have yet to see. My biggest beef with this episode is the fact that Dexter's first kill in 10 years pretty much just fell right in his lap, which is something I've heard a lot of fans in the past complain about with previous seasons. To quickly recap, the guy walked into Dexter's shop and starts waving a knife around, acting like an unhinged axhole. A few hours later, Dexter hears about the boating accident, and then his friend magically spills the details, confirming Matt is actually the axhole we already knew he was. Then, when Dexter is out hunting, Matt happens to show up and kill the deer Dexter is having a moment with. I have to say, I actually really loved this scene. I did anticipate that this would end with the deer getting shot, but what I didn't predict actually was that Matt would be the culprit. However, now that seems actually really predictable, so I don't know how I missed that. But what I really liked about this scene was that it seemed, in that moment, Dexter and the deer seemed to have a connection where the deer was even stronger than Dexter's urge to kill. And that was really cool to see. Earlier, he even referred to the deer as beautiful and seemed to enjoy the chase and all, but getting up close and personal to this beautiful living creature seemed somehow stronger than the dark passenger within. I mean, this is coming from a guy who tortured animals as a teenager. And now he even referred to the deer as my deer. He even said he was perfect. But of course, that moment was interrupted by, you guessed it, shithead Matt once again, and just like that, Dexter's back to his old ways. But I can't help but feel like the Dexter from 10 years ago wouldn't have acted so impulsively. I was hoping for a little more of that detective work Dexter was so good at, maybe narrating his thoughts a little more, laying out his plan. But perhaps it's like he said, he's an evolving monster after all. And maybe his instincts were just loud and clear on this one. I mean, the guy was a complete axe clown after all. I have to say the last 10 minutes of the episode were probably my favorite. It was nice to see the return of the old Dexter Morgan, and I loved some of the narration when he says, I don't need trophies anymore. I think this shows how much Dexter has grown. And if he is to fall back into his old ways, he's not about to make the same mistakes he did before and leave any evidence behind. An evolving monster indeed. As for what we can expect next, back when Bill was spilling the tea, he mentioned Matt's dad helped cover it up, which makes me wonder if Matt's dad is going to be on Dexter's radar next, now that his dark passenger has returned. Is it possible he has ties to the missing girls? There's been no bodies, no pattern. And who is the girl in this photo with Angela? I thought at first maybe it was her daughter, but looking at them side by side, I really don't think it is. I wonder if maybe this is someone that Angela knew back in the day, and it has something to do with maybe why she got involved in the police force, or why she's so adamant about catching the killer. Perhaps there's a personal backstory that's fueling her fire in catching the person responsible for these missing girls. And that girl that Angela ran into at the cabin seems like the next target. Does anybody else get that vibe? Could it be Edward Olsen is involved? Let me know your theories in the comments below, and overall what you thought of this season. As satisfying as it was to see Dexter do his first kill in 10 years, do you think it came a little too easy? Do you agree or disagree with my thoughts? Please let me know. And what about that blood trail in the snow Dex left behind at the end of the episode? Will it be buried as more snow falls before anyone sees it? Let me know if you want to see more videos like this. And if you enjoyed it, please like and share. And of course, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. And remember, just binge it. Bye, guys.